upset. No disrespect, respectfully. But disrespectfully is disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans. Poor little bro, them. And I'ma tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. The other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset.
Maize and Blue Nation, it's Tom Brady. I co-founded Autograph with one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. That's why I'm excited to announce the release of a new app that recognizes the biggest Michigan fans. The Autograph Fandom app gives you access to the best Michigan content, fan challenges, and exclusive rewards for diehard Wolverines, all for doing the things you already do, like listening to this podcast. Head over to the Apple App Store and search for Autograph Rewarding Fans and download today.
Woo! I'm the best there is. Woo! 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 Woo!
Woo! Woo! Michigan, the other state again, 3 times in a row now. Win number 1001. One more time with Rick, and then we got some things.
I'm the best there is. Woo! 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 Woo!
Baby and Bump, by the way, win number 1001. That says it all. Gotta love it. Go Blue. Where is Mello? Where is Buckeye Garrison? Where is Sean? Where are you? Treppa, where are you? Come to the altar now. We got some things to discuss. First of all, Michigan, 30-24 winners over that vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus. It feels good. Feels good. JJ McCarthy, they were talking mad trash about JJ before the game. They were talking mad trash about, by the way, both Fox and ESPN should be ashamed of themselves. Gus was given, and Gus is my guy. First of all, Detroit, what up though? Gus Johnson is my guy for Fox. However, his knees must be scraped up after that game as much as he was on them for Marvin Harrison and the Honda McCord. Every time Kyle dropped back to throw a pass, he's like, would you look at McCord? No. Nobody goes to the car lot and the first thing they want to do is pick out a McCord. Nobody does that. But you know what? The other state did it, and congratulations to him. Congratulations to him. That seat for Ryan Day is on, it's in fuego. Let's be real. It's on fire, but I don't want Ryan Day to go anywhere. Bring him back. Give him a lifetime contract. The other state, if y'all want to keep going 11-1, keep wishing for things to happen so you can make the CFP, bring him back. Keep him there is my mantra. By the way, I got to give round of applause to my guy, Sharon Moore, head football coach of the University of Michigan Wolverines, for this installment of the game. Pulled his butt off, his behind, his rear end, his ass, his arse, whatever you want to call it. He did that today. Shout out to Sharon Moore. We got to give credit where the credit is due. I saw my guy Antoine was in here earlier. He said the Honda McCord wasn't too bad. He upgraded him to a CRX Sport. I'm keeping him right in the garage. 100,000 plus miles on that Honda McCord. Count them, 2 passes to the good guys in blue by the Honda McCord, and places where he just couldn't afford it. By the way, Will Johnson, he gave up some yards. I will give you that. Will Johnson did not give up a touchdown to Marvin Harrison. Will Johnson did intercept Marvin Harrison, and if Will Johnson was 100%, we might even be talking about those catches a little different that Marvin Harrison caught. Shout out to my guy, Dave McAllister. Go Blue. Right now, shout out to my guy, Crack the Nut is in here. Crack the Nut. Crack the fucking Nut is in here. Michigan moves on 12-0, undefeated once again in Big Ten play. Will go on to face Iowa, my preseason prediction, by the way, although I thought it would be because of Eric All and, of course, his name escapes me because it doesn't matter, because Iowa is going to get a beat down next Saturday. So, but that was my prediction, Michigan versus Iowa in the Big Ten championship. I'm sure everyone remembers all those weeks ago. Michigan dominated this game. I don't want to hear it. I know what the stats are going to say. I know what the pundits are going to say. This game was never in doubt. All right. The other state never had the lead in this game. The best they could do was tie it up, starting with that interception that led to a Blake Corum touchdown. Then I had to hear, all of Blake's touchdowns came within 5 yards of the end zone, except for one. Well, as soon as, by the way, health and wealth to Zach Zenter. But as soon as Zach Zenter goes out, Blake runs it in, throws up the 6-5 for Zach Zenter. Do it for 6-5. Can I get an amen to that? Rick, help me out.
Woo! I'm the best there is. Woo! 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 Woo!
In Michigan won the turnover battle. Michigan won on the ground, I believe. I still believe Michigan outrushed them. Yeah, it looks like they had 107 yards rushing to Michigan's 156. J.J. McCarthy was the better quarterback. He was the best quarterback on the field. I told you that would be the case going into this game. It played out that way. Going to be some awkward moments when we win the Big Ten. Wonder if what Petitti's going to do or say when he has to get that trophy to Harbaugh. Oh, I can't wait for it. And by the way, Jim is back next week. Harbaugh returns next week. Petitti is going to have to walk his happy ass up on that stage with the confetti falling, blue, amazing blue, by the way, confetti falling. Joel Klatt standing there with that Joel Klatt smile. And then Petitti has got to, with his sweaty palms, in that trophy over to the real king of the Big Ten, Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, the reason Michigan is in this position, Jim Harbaugh empowers his coaches. He empowers players. This would never, if Hartline had to coach this game, it'd be multiple touchdown game, the spread would be, the end result, Michigan would have won by multiple touchdowns. Not to say that Michigan can't win by multiple touchdowns, even if it's Ryan Day, as the last two before this game seasons have shown us, right? But Michigan was out there with their offensive coordinator / offensive line coach running the show, beating down that vile, disgusting cesspool from Columbus once again. And we're going to get to the comments. I'm going to get to the comments right now, actually. Let's go to the comments. Prayers for Zenter and Johnson. Wishing full speedy recoveries. Absolutely. I saw the angle of my guy Zenter's leg. It didn't look great. Hopefully he does have a speedy recovery and he can be ready for the next phase, and that is the NFL, hopefully, for Zenter. Will Johnson, of course, dealt with an offseason knee surgery. They spoke about his ankle being wrapped and his knee, so hopefully he can be back by the time the CFP starts. We don't even need Will next week. We don't need Will to rush himself back next week for Iowa, because trust me, they won't be scoring points. I'm not saying they're going to have zero, although they'll probably have zero, but they won't have enough points to threaten Michigan is the point. So we don't need him next week. Get healthy, get back for that CFP run, because we are in there. Those refs missed about 10 holding calls against OSU. Facts. The refs, man, between the refs and the game call, I was through. I watched it on mute after a while because I just couldn't take it anymore. But absolutely, the other state was getting away with holding. One in particular on a Travion Henderson run, a guy just completely turned around Kenneth Grant. It was disgusting, but that's neither here nor there. I didn't go into the game expecting Michigan to get calls in their favor. One big one that Michigan did get in their favor early on in the game, where, by the way, JJ threw a dart between two defenders. Who has the guts to do that? The moxie to pull that off, the arm talent to pull that off, because they're not going to talk about JJ's arm talent, but we're going to talk about it. He throws that pass between two defenders. Roman Wilson catches it, gets down. His knee was down anyway before the guy ripped the ball out, but the refs did uphold that touchdown, which was looking shaky. I got to admit, as a fan, was looking shaky for a second, but the right thing was done. MSU on the phone with Day about his next gig. MSU has already hired a coach. They hired the Oregon State coach. Actually, he's going to be the next guy to take L's in East Lansing, but I digress. A lot of OSU fans claiming the refs blew the game. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Where they at right now, actually? They should be here. I'm looking for Mello. I'm looking for Treppa. I'm looking for all these guys who had a lot to say. Where's Buckeye Garrison? Can't get him on the phone. I've been texting, can't find that man. He probably at his neighbor's house getting that flag, which he should be doing. Harbaugh don't even got a coach to beat Day. The king of the North. The king of the North. Shout out to I forget the guy's channel. He's another Michigan fan. He runs a channel, and his intro is with the king of the North. Fire. But shout out to that. MSU hired, Oregon State. We just talked about that for sure. Go blue, baby, for sure. Hail to the victors. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Let's dive into the game. First half, first two possessions, both Michigan and the other state punt. Right, the defenses step up in a big way, force punts. On the other state's third drive, the Honda McCord tries to force one to Marvin Harrison. Will Johnson, like the dominant corner that he is, jumps that pass, intercepts it, nearly takes it back to the house. Michigan gets in on a Blake Corum run from about a yard out. Touchdown, Michigan goes up. The other state comes back, kicks a field goal. Michigan actually gets up 14-7 in this game after that Roman Wilson touchdown that I just spoke about. And then the other state had a little momentum because they go right down the field and score a touchdown. I think Ibuka scores on that one on a shallow cross that McBurrows just couldn't get to in time. Touchdown for the other state. Then they get the ball again with the chance to either go up or cut the lead to 1 before the half. And Sharon Moore, again, it's the situational football, and Sharon Moore really showed his moxie on situational football today. I'm going to get to this super chat in just 1 second, my guy, I promise. But he calls the timeout, and that kick was good, right? The kicker actually made that one, comes back out to do it again, misses it. Michigan goes into half 14-10. The story will continue in just 1 second. Let me get to this super chat as soon as I can find it. I'm sorry. Everybody's in here. Shout out to everybody that is here. Make sure you hit the like and share the live. Yo, Triple M, shout out to you for keeping it real, repping the maize and blue. The OSU fans are on Menace to Sports crying. Gonna watch you and Johnny Olden all night. That's the guy, by the way. King of the North, Johnny Olden Jr. His channel. If you haven't already, go check that out. Subscribe to his channel. He's a good follow. And is hilarious, by the way. LSU win or lose today, I don't know. I don't know what let me check that score out, because I did place a bet and they were losing at one point and I was just disgusted with it, but I couldn't care enough because Michigan was playing, and that was the only game that really mattered to me today. And LSU did end up winning 42-30. They didn't cover the spread, which was my parlay, and so I missed that parlay thanks to those guys. And no, he shouldn't win the Heisman, by the way, just because I missed that parlay. But let's get back to the comments. Almost lost is another term for one. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we won. I don't care how they frame it. Watch that game where OSU never had the lead. Never. Not one time did they have the lead. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Go blue for sure. Blow number 7 is now has to cheer for Michigan after that loss for sure. I'm waiting for Melo. Melo needs to find his way over here. He's probably still wiping his tears. I can hear the tears of the other state fans thundering, shaking the concrete. Shout out to Biggie. But yeah, Johnny is going to be epic. Debo showed up, shook down the Buckeyes. Absolutely. Shout out to Johnny and Debo as he refers to Michigan. Another Michigan win over that school down south. Another dominant ground game performance when it was needed. Definitely. Michigan is the best team in America. Michigan is America's team. That according to Jim Harbaugh, and what Jim Harbaugh says is the law, so I believe it. Jim Harbaugh has never told a lie in his life. I don't care. Michigan's the best team in the country. Facts. We need to be number 1 on this CFP. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Even if Georgia wins this week, I don't know I forget who they're playing. But even if they win, they wouldn't have beaten the second best team according to the CFP. Michigan should be number 1. Now, I will concede that if Georgia goes and beats Alabama, then they will have multiple, top 10 wins or whatever, because they did beat Missouri as well. So if they jump Michigan after the championship week, I understand it a little, but Michigan will have played a ranked Iowa team in the Big Ten championship too. And don't try to downplay that Iowa win. I don't want to hear anybody downplaying that Iowa win, because we are going to wipe the floor with them. But they are a ranked team. They did what they needed to do to come out the West, and we got to respect that. Put some respect on their name. Shout out my guy, Jerron Yancey. Buckeye fan here. Nothing but respect. Good game. We'll see y'all next year. Facts. We're going to see y'all next year and the year after that. But shout out to Jerron keeping it real. No hate, no malice. But I'm going to be unbearable. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Any Ohio State fan on here, if you follow me on social media, if you follow this channel, prepare yourself mentally, because it's going to be rough. Georgia Tech. Yes, they play Georgia Tech. They're going to wipe the floor with Georgia Tech, but Michigan should still be number 1 after this week. Go blue, baby, for sure. Alex Orgy is going to be a menace for years to come. Bigger Denard 2.0. Man, Alex got in there, was patient on that first run, got about 15, 16 yards. That was a dope play call, again, by Sharon Moore, who wasn't afraid to make those kinds of play calls. Let's talk about the second half. I spoke about the first half. Talk about the second half. We come out the gate, I think after, the other state scores a touchdown. We get a field goal to go up 17-10. The other state comes back, scores that touchdown. And then Michigan, after the end of the third quarter, the first play in the fourth quarter, I believe it was, we do the fake sweep, halfback pass, and the Don completes that thing to Colston Loveland down the field. We're pulling out all the stops. We're going in. We go score another touchdown, make it 24-17, or was it 27? Either way, Michigan won the game. That's all that really matters. My play-by-play right now, I can't recollect. I actually went to pick up some food in the meantime, always watching it on the phone though, but it is what it is. Sharon Moore deserves respect, and I was one of his harshest critics. I said Michigan, the games that he had coached this season, the 3 before this one, were Michigan's worst games, were J.J. McCarthy's worst games, but he definitely deserves respect for his play calling and his game plan for this game, bar none, period. He shored up that Carson Barnhart thing, although Carson was part of the reason that JJ took the only sack that he took. But I can't even put all of that on him because Zinter got beat on that play as well. But again, We don't care about that right now because the best part of this entire thing is that Michigan came out victorious, and that's really all that matters. Everything else is secondary. Let's go over some stats. I was almost about to call him his name, his other name, but the Honda McCord went 18 for 30, 271 yards, 9 yard per attempt average, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. JJ 16 of 20, 148, 7.4 per attempt, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 0 turnovers for JJ. And that's what's important, man. My guy Blake Corum averaged 4 yards a carry in this one, rushing for 88 yards on 22 attempts, 2 touchdowns for Blake, who now has the single season rushing record for the University of Michigan. I believe he's at 22 or 23 now. Dominant all year in terms of the red zone for Blake, getting it in when he needed to. Pause. Marvin Harrison had himself a game. I got to give him that credit. He had 5 receptions, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Now, granted, that touchdown was not on Will Johnson. That's what's important. Will Johnson still has not given up a touchdown all season because Will Johnson is the best corner in college football, even this year not being 100% at any point during the season, has not given up a touchdown. He has been beaten a couple times, but still not allowing the other teams his mark to score. And that's important. That's huge. Rod Moore at the end of this one coming up with the game sealing interception. Big moment for Rod rather, and putting on those buffs once again. Michigan walks out victorious. Let's get back to your comments. Scary throws, though, cool as a cucumber window, smaller than second room, the chocolate factory. Shout out to Sean for sure. He definitely was lacing that thing today. Speaking of JJ. Orgy. It's an orgy in the end zone. JJ did his job. He took care of the football. The defense was good when they had to be. That's a fact. What's up, James? Blank man. Now that's Ryan. Now what's Ryan going to cry about? Oh, Ryan was already crying. Ryan was in. We got a Twitter group week 0. I'm in their little Twitter group, and Ryan was in there crying all game about how, Michigan, when they play a real team, is going to get smacked. And I'm like, yo, you've been saying the other state was a real team all year. Now, all of a sudden, they're not who you thought they were. But I digress. Day gets tagged out on third base. I like it. Corey. Shout out to that. That touchdown for Harrison looked like they were in a zone. It did. And by the way, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but I think Antoine was one of the guys in one of the lives talked about that exact play, that shallow drag across the field by Marvin Harrison. A lot of the times it was going in the other direction, but that was the same play. And I pointed that out, hoping that Michigan wouldn't get beat by it. But of course they did. It didn't matter in the end, though. But, still kind of sucked to see that play be successful. Keep telling Will Johnson is the best cornerback in college, hands down. Facts, especially healthy. Paul Feinbaum is somewhere kicking and screaming. No, the Harrison touchdown was blown coverage matchup. I mean, I don't know. It could have been, but definitely it looked like the second level, the linebackers were kind of in a zone. But I digress. Either way, it was a play that I had pointed out in weeks before that Michigan got beat with. Next Saturday versus Iowa. Yeah, that Iowa game is I'm sure Iowa's going to come to play, but in the end, it won't matter. They don't score enough points. They don't put enough pressure, or they won't be able to put enough pressure on Michigan's defense to really threaten them. And Michigan, of course, is going to put up some points. Bottom line, we put up 30 points on a team that was only giving up 9.3 per game. Now, granted, put up 24 on us. We were only giving up 9 a game. So It is what it is. We'll dominate that game next week. Everybody knows it, so it's all good. Michigan wins by 24. That sounds about right. If I were doing it today, I would put that spread at about 21 and a half, maybe 20 points. They filling out resumes. You know how Ohio fans get, and their coach can't beat Michigan. Yeah. It's going to be interesting because here's the thing. Before the game, that fan base swore that they were behind Day no matter what, right? Like, he could go out and lose this game. They'd still be okay with it. But the fact is, after losing, it's going to be different. It's just human nature. He's going to have detractors after this game in Ohio. So you're saying a linebacker versus Harrison isn't a coverage mismatch? No, that is a coverage mismatch. But what we're saying is it wasn't man defense, right? That shallow. It looked like the linebacker was on him, but that's just the last guy as he crosses the face of every other defender going across the field. He was just the last line of defense. He just happened to be, the last defender on that side. Michigan should be number one in the country now. I agree with that, Robert. I spoke about this. I said that Michigan should jump to number one. They got the best win in the country by a landslide, at least until, further notice. And by the way, even if Georgia beats Alabama, who will be a top 10 team, may even be a top 6 team after this week, depending on what happens, by the way. Even if Georgia beats them, Michigan is still going to have beaten Iowa, which is going to be a top 20 team. So I think Michigan should be number one. They should stay number one. Michigan should get the bold choice. But, we'll see what happens. I know the likelihood of that is less than likely. It's less than likely that that'll happen, but it should. And that's not just me being a fan either. That's what I honestly think about it. And Michigan should be number one. They should definitely get some attention for being number one. But let's get to anybody. Let's talk about you guys' key play during the game. What did you think was a key moment in that game? I'll give one. Ibuka is going up the seam. It looks like he's got whoever beat. Michigan could have been in zone on that play too. Cover 2, it looks like, and it looks like he's right in that sweet spot between, the first defender and the overtop safety, and McCord puts a ball right where he can get it, 2 hands on it. The safety comes over, it might have been a linebacker, but I think it was a safety. Anyway, comes over, huge hit, drops the ball. I think that was a seminal moment in that game, just to send a message, if nothing else, that nothing's going to be easy here, and you softies are going to have to work for it. Predict Bama over Georgia. If that happens, then it's really going to get interesting. And Michigan will be number one if that happens, by the way, and they should be as well. This should put to rest all the BS about the last 5 to 6 weeks. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing this up. I don't want to hear anything about Spygate again from the other state when it comes to when it comes to 21 and 22. Get out of my face. We don't want to hear it. Bottom line is, we've beaten you 3 times in a row. Live with it. Deal with it. Accept it. The boys' mental fortitude is amazing. Their coach helped build that. Great job of the boys proving themselves again. Love Big Blue for sure. Jim Harbaugh's fingerprints, even though he wasn't there, were all over this game. I think, like I said, Jerome Moore definitely deserves credit. Jesse Minter deserves credit, although I was a little upset with the way the other state just kind of ran it down our throat. I believe that was like in the 3rd quarter, maybe into the 4th. They did like 8 straight runs. They were just chipping away. That kind of bothered me a little bit. But for the most part, Michigan held their end of the bargain and came out victorious. Be sure to hit the like button, share the stream. Let's get more people in here. Great team win for Michigan. And that's the most important thing. And the fact that JJ was a key part in it, another important part. Corum finally healthy for the game, right? He spoke about this. I think the announcer spoke about that too. He would be healthy for the first time in this game, so that was huge. Here's another key moment. JJ's throw to CJ across the middle late, made it 4th and short, allowed us to chew up the clock. Facts. That's a fact. So that was a huge play in that game, by the way. Zinter and Johnson injuries will hurt in the playoffs. Yeah, Zinter for sure. It's not, you always want your best players on the field. I think Will might have a chance to come back for the playoffs. If he doesn't, then you're right. That's definitely not ideal. But we'll see what happens. We had to double Harrison then because Will Johnson was out. So it opened up the run game for OSU. That's a great point, Justin. I do think the 3rd down run up the middle, our last drive, was a bad call. Should have JJ with the rollout option. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you also don't want to put it in the air because if it's an incomplete pass, then it stops the clock and they still get to hold on to that timeout. You definitely want them to use the timeout, which is one of the reasons that they beat Notre Dame. If you remember that, Notre Dame tried to do that screen pass on like 2nd down that was nearly intercepted, by the way. And when it was unsuccessful, right, it was an incomplete pass. It stopped the clock. The other state didn't have to use that timeout. They promptly go down the field. That timeout ended up being a factor in that win. So you want to make them use that timeout. So I'm not mad that we ran it. I think we should have had a little more imagination with the run, maybe an option, right? So if that DN crashes, then JJ can keep it. But other than that, I think the run was the right call for sure. JJ made every big throw on the run, right window throws. Where are the people saying the Honda McCord is better because of the last tweaks, right? I think it was obvious who the better quarterback was today. Corum's touchdown right after Zinter goes down, very emotional point in the game. Yes, that was very, very big for team morale, if nothing else. Overall, great win. Guess they can't say we haven't played anybody yet and covered the spread. Facts. Covered the spread. No Connor Stallions. They can't say that. No Jim Harbaugh even on the sidelines. They have no excuses. It's all bad for them. They said that the Honda McCord was a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy. Guess what?
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
They said Travion Henderson was a better running back than Blake Corum. Guess what?
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
It's all a lie, folks. They said the other state was better than Michigan.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
No way. Michigan is the king of the North. Michigan runs the Big Ten. This will be the 3rd straight year beating the other state. It will be the 3rd straight trip to the Big Ten championship game. I expect them to win their 3rd straight Big Ten championship, 3rd straight trip to the college football playoff. Bottom line, nothing else can be said about it. There, no asterisks, nothing. 3-peat. Shout out to Pat Riley, who I believe coined that phrase, 3-peat. Will Johnson looked like he was on the sideline walking around. He'll be fine for the playoffs. Zach is the one to be worried about. Absolutely. Yes, I'm concerned also of the head coach job offers going to Coach Moore now. I think that that's inevitable, right? He's certainly going to get his share of job opportunities. He had them last year. He turned them down last year. I'm not sure what the schools were, but he spoke about that and turning down, job offers to be a head coach last year. I'm sure they were probably smaller schools last year, but this year it's going to be some big programs looking to get he and Jesse Minter. So Michigan's going to have trouble keeping all of that coaching staff together, but we'll see what happens. Go Iowa. Look who showed up. You're an Iowa Hawkeyes fan now, no doubt. It's all good, man. Prediction. Come on, man. Come on, bro. You're not even trying to be. You're not even trying to keep it real, huh? That's just whatever. Did not have one of its better games, yet they still took OSU down. Go blue. Facts. 1000%. Yeah, he was. Let's see. What a great job Coach Moore did. 3 up, 3 down. And as we know, biggest games of the year, just awesome. Go blue. Facts, Kenneth. Prediction for Iowa next week, Mr. T and Rocky 3 Payne. Payne, that's the prediction. Complete. Michigan wins 52-3. Jesus, yikes. I think Iowa's defense is legit. I'm not sure Michigan scores 52 on them. But that 3 for Iowa looks about right. I give it 33-3 Michigan. If I were to predict that game, I'll obviously this week sometime do a prediction for that game. But right off the bat, I'm not sure that I can say Michigan's going to score 52 on that defense. Not to shortchange Michigan at all, because they're certainly capable of it, but that defense has played well. They deserve some credit too. See, it's and your team sucks so bad. You're just hoping for anyone to beat the rival. You couldn't. Yeah, it is sad, Trepa. That's kind of, come on, bro. You got to do better than that. Too bad Cade is injured. I mean, I guess. I think it would have been a great storyline if he and Eric all weren't injured, but either way, they would have lost. I was tight end. You bet they get more than 3. I mean, I don't know. They're not very good. Have you seen them play offense? And granted, they scored 13 on like Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's not Michigan. Yeah, it's not even close. I'm not sure. We're pushing it to give them 3. And that 3, I think, is going to be predicated on their defense making a play. Maybe they get a fumble or Michigan goes for it on the 4th down to set up short field for them, because otherwise they're not going to be able to drive the ball down the field and score points. That's just the reality. But, much respect to Kurt Ferentz. I got respect for him. So we'll see what happens. 2 years ago, we beat Iowa 42-10. Facts. By the way, that was a better Iowa team than this year's team. But I'm just saying, scoring 52 is no short order. I'm not saying that Michigan can't do it. I just wouldn't, if I was giving my prediction, I wouldn't give a realistic prediction for me of Michigan scoring 52 on that defense. But they certainly can. As I just mentioned, that was a better version of Iowa too. They're all hurt. The tight ends are out. That's true. Even Cooper DeJean is out, right? I don't believe he'll be playing. I think he's out for the season. So, that hurts them for sure. I'm pretty sure we're good versus Iowa, not to be taken lightly. Let's finish step 3 next Saturday. Absolutely. I think they get a touchdown, but we still put up an embarrassing score. That's fair. I'm saying 31-10 blue. Find me at Lucas Oil when you see it on the scoreboard. Facts. We'll be looking for you, Corey. He's done. Yep. Is this about Cooper DeJean? I don't know. Losing Zach Z is big, but we're loaded at O-line position. Next man up, plug and play. Yeah, I think Trente Jones came in there, stepped up, played well. So we're going to miss Zach for sure. I mean, that's not a player that you want to be without, but we definitely have the bodies at that position. So, and that's one of the reasons that Sharon Moore will be missed if he were to get another job too, is he's done an excellent job recruiting at the offensive line position, even in the transfer portal. So that'll be a big loss. I'm in awe that UM, without their head coaches, winning these enormous games, PSU and OSU. Mike Loxley said this after the UM game. This team is resilient. I agree. Go blue. Shout out to John Wright. That's a fact. They beat 2 top 10 teams without their head coach. They played another game that was a bona fide trap game against Maryland between those 2 top 10 teams and came out victorious. Mike Loxley has never lied. Eric All is out. Yeah, Eric All and McNamara won't play in this game. Neither will Cooper DeJean. Yeah, no Cooper. So that said, I mean, maybe Michigan does drop 52 on them. Who knows? That's still a better win, sure. 31-10 blue. Washington State scored. What's that score, by the way, Chuck? What's the score for that game? Have an O-line can slide down, plug in Jones at tackle. Yeah, I think so. Moving Barnhart to guard and Jones to tackle was brilliant. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Hard to win when your quarterback sucks, throws picks, miss field goals. That's true. Wazoo. Who do we want to win, Washington or Oregon? I really don't care, if I'm being honest. I think Oregon's a better team. I want to see the better team get in. I think Oregon is a little better, even though Washington did win that head-to-head. And if they didn't play each other in a championship game, I would lean to Washington just for winning the head-to-head. But since they are most likely going to play each other in that championship game, then it doesn't matter which team wins, but Oregon's better in my opinion. Who would you rather play, Washington or Oregon in the semi? I'd rather play Washington because they have a porous defense. And I think Michigan would run right through that defense. Oregon's defense is a little better. I think their head coach is a little better, even though he's only in his second year. He really gets the best out of those guys. And they have comparable offenses. So if the offenses are here, maybe Washington has a slight edge. But when it comes to defense, it's like here and Oregon's here. So I like Oregon a little better than Washington. I'd rather play Washington over Oregon, though. 7-7. Okay. Michigan D needs to be careful of scrambling quarterbacks in the playoffs. Absolutely. Will Michigan be number one playoff rankings this week? Micah, I think they should be. I spoke about this a little earlier. Their best win in college football. They have 2 top 10 wins with the win over Penn State now as well. So I think they should be number one. We'll see what happens. Bama is up 3. Those losers. If Auburn pulls that win off, then the Georgia-Alabama game, this is a crazy scenario. What if Auburn upsets Bama? Bama upsets Georgia. Bama would be eliminated from the playoff. It would be very interesting to see what they do with Georgia. Do they keep them in and keep out like an undefeated Florida State? Do they keep out a one-loss Texas? You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting to see if that were the case, right? What happens? Washington, they're tied at 7. Shout out to that. Bosa, go blue. Yeah, I don't know about Bosa. I think we did beat Ohio State again. I get it. But saying Bosa is just weird to me because both of them went to the other state. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't like it. But yes, the sentiment, absolutely. Washington is tied right now. Penix is missing throws, just turned it over, about to lose to Washington State. What quarter is that? It's just the first quarter, right? Georgia still has a date with Georgia Tech. I mean, they're going to smack Georgia Tech. Let's be Georgia Tech isn't a good football team. Go blue back to back to back. Facts. 3-peat. Dominating the other state 3 years straight, 3 years running. It's just the way it should be, right? Michigan has restored order to the Big Ten. We are now the preeminent team in the Big Ten. It's unquestioned at this point. No matter what they did, they tried to get our coach out of there. They tried to say we were cheaters. They've said everything, and none of it has mattered because we just keep winning. That's all that matters. They'll stick undefeated Liberty in there. That'll be funny. Auburn putting up a fight. They always do against this team. Will Moore get a head coaching job after this season? He'll certainly get inquiries. He'll probably get some offers. Whether or not he is the key question. I'm scary of the defense, of our defense or Iowa's defense. I don't know. Bosa beat Ohio State again. I mean, yeah, we did. Iowa's number 2 in the big until Michigan loses. What? Until Michigan loses? That's not going to happen. Oh, you're just saying like overall. Yeah, I mean, Iowa has made it to, this is their second Big Ten championship in 3 years. You know, they're pretty consistent. The West is a joke. Thankfully, there will be no West next year, so there's that. You know, they'll always put that asterisk by our title. No way. I don't want to see anything by the title. And by the way, I don't care what they put next to it. As long as they hand it to us. Give it to us. You put whatever you want next to it. Whatever. But we will win it. Happy birthday to Blake Corum. Shout out to that. Happy birthday to Blake. Michigan defense. You're scary of Michigan's defense. I don't know, man. Michigan's defense pretty good. Wrong. No, they aren't. Michigan isn't losing. Nah, they're not. Michigan's number 1, Iowa number 2, OSU number 3. Facts. I'm not even mad at this. Absolutely. Damn. We're all on point. I wouldn't want to be on that committee considering the possibilities. I knew that. I forgot the smiley face. Shout out to Sean. Iowa's the best of the worst. Pretty much. Clyde, this is not the time for you guys to be on here talking about some OSU. By the way, happy birthday, Blake. Yes, happy birthday to Blake the Great. We give up too much yards. I mean, I don't know, man. We have been doing a pretty good job. This is a great offense, according to the media. So giving up yards to them is one thing. Giving up a win is another. We won the game. Brock Heward almost cried because they're losing their conference. It sucks. What more does Michigan have to prove? Till if you know what's up, you know. They can always shove that asterisk up Stephen Smith and Paul Feinbaum's ass. Facts. Say it again, John. Those losers. They're going to be crying on Monday too. Losers. Give up yard. It's not points. Facts. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on the live. I'm going to go check out some other guys' lives. Join me over there. In the meantime, stay angry, my